Do we have a timeline to conclude the repatriation of immigrants who are being processed in Musina? Maybe let me give the context. The South African government did not initiate the repatriation of anyone. It is the home countries of Nigeria, of Ghana, of Malawi, who said they are going to repatriate their citizens. Because in terms of mandate, we have no obligation and responsibility to repatriate anyone. Our responsibility in terms of our immigration laws is to deport those who are in the countries illegally. And also the government of Mozambique then repatriated. And we must indicate the government of Mozambique, when they started to initiate repatriations, they coordinated with ourselves to make sure that they got support. And we must also acknowledge their intervention that has helped us to guide how do we support the other repatriations. The government of Mozambique, when they started to repatriate, they said because their buses are too many, they are requesting that they be escorted. And we started to escort the buses. It was the first export of repatriation of Mozambique was the buses traveling from Mossel Bay, if you recall the Mossel Bay incident. And we repatriated the people of the government of Mozambique repatriated its citizens with our support. What we have been clear about is that there's nobody who's going to be repatriated without being processed in the country, because there are no fugitives against the law who are going to leave the Republic of South Africa. They have to be prosecuted. You can't leave with children who are South African children. You can't leave with children who are not accounted for in terms of their parents. And you'll recall we released a statement through the Border Management Authority in terms of the number of children who were refused to exit because they were not traveling with their parents and there was no proper authorization by their parents to leave the country, because we have a responsibility to protect children. There were South Africans who were taking chances saying they want to visit Mozambique, if you recall, and they are going to visit their friends. We denied them to leave the Republic. The things got to head when the Malawian government were after making a call for reparations. They did not have enough resources, and that call was made not even by the government of Malawi. It was made by the High Commission of Malawi. Then they pleaded for donations, contributions to repatriate people, and then the numbers became unbearable at Sherwood, and it was going to start to be a humanitarian crisis. The government then intervened and said, how do we assist? But the honors of repatriating Malawians still lies with the government of Malawi. We are only intervening to make sure we avoid a humanitarian crisis. With the other countries who are repatriating, people gather in their embassies or high commissions or consulate offices across the country.
Compared to that,
but Malawians did not go to their high commission or to their consulate. They went to home affairs offices. Even as we speak, yesterday we were at the Musina Repatriation Center. The officials of the Malawi High Commission, they decided they are going to sleep, whereas the officials of Home Affairs, BMA, and all parties in South Africa work 24 hours non-sleep to process the Malawian nationals. We do not know what is the number that is coming through. When we think we had progressed, a large number, more numbers are coming through. And that's why we sent DECO to interact with the Malawi High Commission to make sure that their officials are available 24/7. Because the challenge with Malawi is that Malawians don't even have papers. They are being issued what is called collective passport so that they can leave. So without the Malawian High Commission being available 24/7 to help us to process, there won't be papers for them to exit the country. So do we know when are we going to finish processing? We're processing at the pace of processing and the rate of processing on the South African side is much quicker than the rate we're processing at Sherwood in terms of the reparations. But we are hamstrung by the unavailability of the Malawian High Commission and Mission in South Africa at a 24-hour basis to make sure that their citizens are treated with dignity and they can be repatriated as quickly as possible. We've even come up as government, where the Malawian government has said they do not have resources, whereas the High Commission is the one who created this problem. And we must be clear, it's the High Commission who created this problem. We have now tried to go into our resources in an unfunded mandate to make sure that we find buses to transport the Malawi nationals to go home so that they don't stay longer at the repatriation center. So we need to give that context, because there's a tendency of wanting to say it's the South African government that is repatriating. We are only responding to a crisis not of our own making, but initiated by the Malawian government.
My dear Minister, thank you for clearing the air concerning this issue. This is the issue everybody has been asking, whether South Africa is in support of the repatriation, of the deportation of foreigners out of South Africa. But in a normal sense, with all due respect, it is the Nigerian government that initiated the repatriation of their own citizens. It is also the Malawian government, that Zimbabwean government, that initiated the deportation of their own citizens. Yes. Because why? The lives of their citizens are not safe in your country. Because the citizens of South Africa threatened, the word threatened, your own citizens threatened them, gave them mandate to leave. So they have no option than to call their government, call their country for help. And their country came to take them away. So it is the duty of the South African government to protect the lives and properties of foreigners, both living in South Africa, both legally ones and illegal ones. So when South Africa cannot or are threatening them, they have to go. That's why they are leaving. They are not leaving because the government are deporting them. No, they are leaving because the citizens of South Africa want to fix their own country and ask them to go. Please, can you guys go? Not only with a peaceful mind, but with force. They gave them ultimatum. They gave them deadline. If you don't leave, whatever you see, you take. So for countries to come to South Africa to take their citizens, to protect their citizens, is not a bad decision. It is their own duty to protect their own citizens, living in your own country. So you saying that South Africa did not initiate the repatriation of citizens, Nigerian citizens, Malawian, Ghanaians, is not a good idea, That's not true. That's not the best way to go. Because the citizens of South Africa asked the foreigners to leave by fire, by force. So they have no option than to leave, to save their life. Life first. That's what we are talking here. So you don't blame the Nigerian government for coming to South Africa to take their citizens. You don't blame the Zambian government, the Malawians, the Zimbabwean for repatriating their own citizens. You don't blame them. That's the duty of every responsible government to do. That's their own responsibility, and that's why they do it. So with all due respect, with all due respect to South African government, what Nigerian government did, Zimbabwean, Ghanaians, other African did to take their citizens away from South Africa is a legal movement, because they care. That shows that they care for the lives of their own citizens. That shows that they love their own citizens. So for those children who refuse to go with their parents, they can stay in South Africa. This is a digital world. Communication is easy now than before. So sooner than later, they will join their parents, or their parents will join them. So the issue here is that South Africa is supporting the repatriation of foreigners to their own countries. Fine, we are fine with that. And nobody leaves a country without the support of the government. Nobody is a fugitive in any country. Either you are legal or illegal. If you are legal, you'll be repatriated to your country. If you are illegal, you'll be deported to your country. So there's a difference between deportation and repatriation. Thank you very much, for clearing the air, and more updates will come, because it's not going to be easy. Throughout last week has been hectic, and throughout next week, everything will be sorted out. Lives matters. Someone who runs is not running away because he cannot fight. He's running to save his life first. So let love lead.